This is KSL Sunday Edition with Boyd Matheson.
Welcome to Sunday Edition. I am Boyd Matheson. Each Sunday we attempt to divide the rage from the reason, elevate the conversation, connect the dots, and make the news make sense. We have conversations with great thinkers, great leaders, and great people making a difference. We talk politics so we can discuss society, and we explore society so we can discuss principles and the people in America who actually live them. We bring the best and brightest to Utah, and we send the Utah model to our nation's capital and beyond. Well, Utah has a worldwide reputation for service, so it's no wonder state and national leaders in philanthropy, government, and business descended on the Delta Center in Salt Lake City this past week for a special symposium called Why We Serve. Governor Spencer Cox and First Lady Abby Cox invited guests to dig into the question of why we serve and, more importantly, why it matters. One of the attendees was Jennifer Sirangelo, CEO of the nationally renowned Points of Light Foundation, launched, of course, by President George H.W. Bush in his inaugural address 35 years ago. Jennifer, welcome to Sunday Edition.
Thanks. I'm so glad to be here, Boyd.
Well, I want to start with your organization, and I just have to keep saying that over. 35-year anniversary. Why was the notion of Points of Light so important to President George H.W. Bush?
Well, it begins with his own personal commitment to service. He had a lot of choices in life, but he chose to serve both in the military and then in public service. In many ways, we know he had many roles in the U.S. at the national level. And he really believed when he started his presidency that he wanted to infuse service into our culture. So he wanted to change the culture, make service something that is part of the definition of a successful life.
I love that. And it is, we always remind everyone that it is community and culture that lead. The politicians usually follow, and President Bush had a great ability to bring all of that together. And now, 35 years down the road, the Points of Light Global Network includes 145 affiliates, 39 countries around the world. In his 1989 inaugural address, the founder, of course, shared that vision, 1,000 points of light. Give us kind of the trajectory of the organization and what you've been doing to help others through service.
Well, we do that in three ways. We really organize it into inspiring, equipping, and mobilizing. Our mission is to inspire, equip, and mobilize people to take action that changes the world. So when you think about equipping, we have an amazing, you talked about our global network of nonprofits, NGOs around the world who are the leaders in civic engagement and volunteerism in their communities. And we are looking to grow that network and to deepen its impact so that they can foster even more volunteerism and service in their local communities. And we also have an amazing network of daily points of light, which I'm sure we'll talk about. And many of them are social entrepreneurs. They have started or founded a nonprofit organization to solve a problem in their community. And we want to help them grow those local solutions.
Oh, I love that.
That's one of our missions. We have a lot of other things we can talk about too.
Well, that ability to inspire, to equip with the right resources and navigational pieces, and then to really mobilize, I think is such an important part. You alluded to some of those that you celebrate, and you shared with me earlier this week 7,800 points of light that you have celebrated and inspired all of us to emulate over the last 35 years. Give us some examples of those.
Sure. Well, that is our daily point of light. And you're right. Boyd, I had the number wrong the other day. I was looking ahead to later in the year, but we are at 7,725 actually daily points of light. And we have been doing that recognizing everyday American for their contributions in their local communities since President Bush was in the White House. And he did it every day during his presidency, and we've continued it every weekday since. So there are some amazing examples. These are, and when you think about it, these are just the people we recognize are just the tip of the iceberg. There are millions of people, everyday Americans, making a difference. But we love to tell their stories, and it's an important part of our culture. The stories we tell shapes who we are. And so I'd love to tell you just a couple of the amazing ones I've had a chance to meet are a young man who our 7,700 daily point of light. He is a young man outside Boston who his grandfather and he used to take walks, but his grandfather stopped doing the walks because he couldn't find a restroom, at his age. So this young man decided to solve that problem, create a new technology application that lets people find restrooms that are available, that are free, and to advocate for access for people. And I understand this because, my parents are dealing with this too. I love that this young man just said, this is a problem my grandfather's dealing with, and I'm sure others are too. So he wanted to solve that. I also had a chance to meet an amazing young woman in Victoria in Houston who has spent 10 years, she's in her 20s, but she's spent 10 years doing reading and literacy at the Barbara Bush Library in Houston. And because she loved reading, she advocated for libraries in her local school that didn't have enough resources. These are people changing their local communities, solving problems, and we love to celebrate our daily points of light.
So important as we get to that daily effort that all of us can do. We all can be that point of light. And we're going to stay with the conversation with Jennifer Sirangelo, CEO of the Points of Light Foundation. And we're going to explore the unique convening by Governor Spencer Cox and First Lady Abby Cox. We'll also look at the future of the Points of Light Foundation, where they go next, and why all of us, if we really want to understand the heart and soul of this nation, have to recognize that it begins with each one of us. We'll be back. More conversations. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, we're staying with our conversation with Jennifer Sirangelo, CEO of the Points of Light Foundation. Jennifer, Points of Light has proven it is possible to transcend politics and borders and all of the other barriers that really aren't real, to inspire millions of people worldwide to do good, to make a difference. And this week you joined other thought leaders, organizations, government officials to both highlight Utah's unique place as a point of light and explore ways to extend the influence of individuals and organizations across the country and around the world. So give us a little bit of your sense of the event at the Delta Center this week, what you took away.
Well, first of all, I took away that your governor and first lady are truly committed to service, and it was very exciting to see their leadership, their energy, and their enthusiasm, both here in Utah, but also nationally. Had people from around the country here to celebrate service and to talk about its importance. So the themes that I heard and took away from the event were about the importance of service, not just because it's a good thing to do, but that it's essential for our democracy and our civil society. Because service is proven, research shows that when people serve with people different from them, their biases are reduced, polarization is reduced, and that we build bridges between things that are different from us. We also talked a lot about how service is also a solution to what we're seeing about increased loneliness and anxiety and isolation in our society. We all know that our Surgeon General is talking about this isolation and loneliness as a real problem, but service is a way we can overcome that. And we also talked about service as a personal development, kind of a career exploration, workforce readiness strategy for young people. And we got to see some great examples. Lieutenant Governor Henderson shared here in Utah what you all are doing with young people in high school. And then First Lady Abby Cox talked with a group of young people that are exploring and using service as a way to really learn about themselves and what they may want to do in life and work beyond being in their service year. So it was a very comprehensive and very positive and inspiring conference.
I love that. And it is so true. If we want to get rid of the polarization, the best thing to do is be side by side with someone with a shovel in your hand or a tear in your eye. I think those are the things that help us transcend all of that. I want to get into this element of the young people. The young people today are often pigeonholed or stereotyped as being narcissistic, self-absorbed. You mentioned that the Lieutenant Governor mentioned some of those young people. What else are you seeing from the Points of Light Foundation in terms of those young people out there really making a difference today?
Well, I would say, Boyd, my experience and ours at Points of Light is the total opposite of that about Gen Z. They are very committed to their communities. They want to solve problems and see things different. But I think what they're telling us as adults is that they need to be equipped. We need support to do that. And that's what a year of service, these service and volunteerism opportunities can do for them. But I will tell you, it's a very fun part of our daily Point of Light recognition is that 40% of them are young people under 25. They are solving problems, they're being creative, they are founding organizations in their communities. They never cease to amaze me. So we are excited about telling their stories and helping them grow their impact locally.
Yeah, so important to get them all engaged in that process. And again, the young people are going to lead out on this. They do it a little different than their parents may do. They may do it as an ice bucket challenge or something on social media, but they do seem to be more communitarian, I think, in some cases than even their parents. But often we don't tap into that, or as you say, we don't equip them to actually do that. I think that's such an important part of that. As you talk about telling these stories and some of these ways to better equip and mobilize and inspire, what are some of the things that we should be thinking about in our communities in terms of creating space for that kind of point of light to shine?
Well, I am a very big youth advocate, so I encourage anyone who is in a leadership role, whether it's in your community, your school, your church, your business, I want to start by encouraging you to listen and learn from the young people. They have a lot of ideas. They are leaders today. We don't have to wait to get the benefit of their energy and enthusiasm. So I think from wherever you sit, in your family or in your community, you can listen and learn from our young people and what they want to see and how they want to change the world. That was the messages the young people gave us from the stage at the Delta Center this week. Yeah.
I was going to say, just in our last couple of minutes here, I want to look at what's next, because I know one thing very indicative of President George H.W. Bush was always about what's next and how do we extend this, expand this. Give us a little bit of the vision in terms of the Points of Light Foundation and what comes next.
Sure. Well, we are very, we're watching the trends. We know, we're experts in volunteerism and civic engagement here in this country and around the world. And I just want to tell you, Boyd, we are concerned. The volunteerism is reducing year over year. Last year, it reduced by 7%. Giving overall in the U.S., in 22, this is one of the new statistics coming out, went down by 10% in the United States. That's the largest it's ever happened, and certainly since 2010. So these statistics overall are things we believe are indicators of the importance of our work, and we need to reverse these trends. So at Points of Light, we're going to be investing in those social entrepreneurs, our daily Points of Light. We're going to be investing in our affiliate organizations, because they are the ones locally who really create the opportunities for people to take action that changes the world.
Such a powerful thing and such an important element for us all to be engaged in, because we all can do something today. We always talk about that in terms of doing something that makes a difference. Big thank you to Jennifer Sirangelo from the Points of Light Foundation. We look forward to benefiting from the reflected light of people making a difference through your organization. You've done it for 35 years. We are very excited for 35 years and beyond yet to come. Well, with the 2024 election cycle in full swing, we'll hear politicians from the far left to the far right say that this election is for the heart and soul of the nation. When we come back, we'll reflect on a point of light, and I'll make the case that the heart and soul of America can only be found in the heart and soul of the American people. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sunday Edition. From now until the first Tuesday in November, the nation will hear from both political parties and candidates across the political spectrum that this election is the most important election in our nation's history. Well, every election is the most important because it's all we have. Nothing's more important than exercising that right to make your voice heard and have your vote counted. A more misleading political phrase is the ever-popular, "This election is a battle for the heart and soul of America." I believe that's the wrong phrase, the wrong battle, and the wrong war altogether. Politicians claiming that a political election is for the heart and soul of the nation assumes that the heart and soul of the nation belongs to political parties, to politicians, or institutions of government. Nothing, and I mean nothing, could be further from the truth. The heart and soul of the nation is not found in Washington, D.C. It's not housed in the nation's Capitol building. The heart and soul of America is certainly not kept in Congress or held by its members. It's not cataloged in the Library of Congress, and it's not stored in Fort Knox. The heart and soul of America isn't lurking in marbled halls or chiseled in stone monuments. The heart and soul of the country is not contained in the White House or the West Wing, nor is it controlled by any woman or man who may reside there. The heart and soul of America can only be found in the heart and soul of the American people. Adlai Stevens, the U.S. politician and diplomat, former governor of Illinois, who ran for president in '52 and '56, eloquently wrote, "When an American says that he loves his country, he means not only that he loves the New England hills, the prairies glistening in the sun, the wide and rising plains, the great mountains and the sea. He means that he loves an inner air, an inner light, in which freedom lives and in which a man can draw the deep breath of self-respect." I love that. The soul of the nation is found in that inner self-respect, self-determination, and selfless commitment to community and to country. It's also grounded in respect for the dignity of others and tolerance, valuing the unique value in every life, at every stage, and in every station. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice said, "The essence of America, that which really unites us, is not ethnicity or nationality or even religion. It's an idea." America has been described as an idea and as a mirror. The great American mirror is what allows individuals and communities to look upon themselves and measure what matters most, reflect upon principles and values, and assess to what degree they can see themselves living up to what they profess to believe. Ultimately, citizens can gaze with hope to see the distant reflection of their own vision of the future. The mirror of America is what reflects the heart and soul of the nation. The soul of America cannot be observed merely in its natural resources, natural beauty, teeming cities, or even the greatness of the Republic's inspired form of government and the freedoms and liberties it fosters and preserves for all of us. I once saw the heart and soul of this nation in a scene that I actually didn't see. It was a moment that manifests what politicians and governments can neither conceive nor create. The reflection was contained in an experience shared by a friend I admire who has a patriotic cord that runs very deep and an understanding of the American experience nurtured in the heart of America's heartland. My friend had gone home to the Midwest after her mother had passed away. Small town, big dreams, fields, farmland, open space, open hearts. People who epitomize the soul of America. Following a small memorial gathering at the local church, it was during the pandemic, so due to the coronavirus, the family emerged from the church prepared for the drive to the cemetery on the outskirts of town all alone. My friend was surprised to see the local small town law enforcement was waiting to provide them the proper path to the cemetery. In that community, the last thing anyone needed for a drive out to the cemetery was a police escort. More fields than road, more corn than cars, to be sure. As the cortege began the journey, my friend described the magical moment that mirrored and reflected the soul of the nation. She said that trucks and farm equipment pulled over to the side of the road in respect. At the stoplight and at cross streets, the people of the town got out of their cars to stand in honor of my friend's mother. One woman who did not know my mother or my friend or her family stood by the street with her head bowed in silent prayer. Jacob Needleman, in his book, The American Soul, described the soul of the country this way: "The deeper hope of America is its vision of what humanity is and can become. It's the recognition and respect of our fellow human beings, humanity, and their dignity that helps us transcend the us versus them tribalism and form the foundation for a more perfect union in this country. Recognizing our own potential and the inherent goodness and possibilities in others is the path to the soul of the nation." Ernest Renan, a 19th century French philosopher, wrote, "A nation has a soul, a spiritual principle. One is in the past, the other is in the present. One is the possession of a rich legacy of memories. The other is the desire to live together and to value the common heritage." Well, America does have a soul and spiritual principle. Remembering that such things belong to we the people is paramount. Each of us individually and all of us collectively live up to the better angels of our nature. That's the true test, the real test for the soul of America. Politicians and political parties will continue to lay claim to the heart and soul of the nation. Some will try to convince us that America's soul is something to be fought over, to be won, and to be controlled by factions dueling for political power. In doing so, such so-called leaders will reveal in the reflection of their personal mirror and motivations that they do not understand the real notion of this nation, nor the people who actually make it extraordinary. So the heart and soul of America can only be found in one place. The heart and soul of America can only be found in the heart and soul of the American people. And so as we go through this political season in 2024, don't let anyone fool you to believing that this is an election for the heart and soul of the nation, because politicians and political parties don't own it, they can't control it, they can't conceive it, and they definitely do not create it. That's up to you, that's up to me, that's up to all of us to come together to form that more perfect union and actually demonstrate that the soul of the nation can only be found in the heart and soul of the American people. Well, that wraps it up for us on Sunday Edition today. I'm Boyd Matheson. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, as you go out into the world today, make sure you see something that inspires, say something that uplifts, and do something that makes a difference. Music and the spoken word is next.